Hello everyone, and welcome to our second episode of High Caliber. I'm your host, Martin Riggs. Hope you're all doing well today. Today I have a special battle for you, a Tier 10 Daring, which is the Tier 10 United Kingdom Destroyer. It sits atop the tech tree. And this is a very fun ship. It has a lot of tools that we're going to discuss today, and we're going to use all of them in this battle here. It is very much a gunboat, but it also has some very usable torpedoes. And we're going to see all of that in effect here today. So first off, just a little bit about the ship in terms of its in-game mechanics here. It has a variety of consumables available. It does have a heel, which is quite rare for a destroyer. It does also have a hydro, which is able to detect both ships and torpedoes at 3 kilometers, which is not a particularly long range, but it is very effective. And also it has a number of very short but very useful smoke screens. So these smoke screens do not last very long. In fact, once they're dispersed, they only last 40 seconds. So they're really kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card. And we're going to use that a few times here as well. Now we're making our way towards A. There is a carrier in this game, so we are kind of keeping an eye on that. Always as a DV player, you want to make sure that you have your AA turned off at the start of any battle, and any time that you're not actively engaging an aircraft carrier. Because when you have your AA off, you're much more difficult for the enemy to spot you. Now I've got a little bit of backup here in terms of pushing into this cap here. You notice that we have the Udaloy back here. So this is actually a situation where I'm going to push more aggressively into this cap as a result, because I do have that help. So you see I'm also using RPF here for me, and all of a sudden we're going to see a Kleber pop up. So that's not great for us. We do have Hydro up, so we see the torpedoes coming. And we're able to reverse out of the way. We've also popped our smoke screen. That way we are undetected, but we're still able to see the Kleber because their smoke firing penalty is quite a bit higher than ours. So we're able to continuously fire on the Kleber. The Udaloy is also utilizing our smoke as well. And because we have Hydro, we can see these torpedoes coming, so we're going to find ourselves a nice little gap here. We're just going to kind of feather the throttle a little bit. We don't want to accelerate fully out of this smoke screen. Got to be careful of that. So we're just angling the ship just enough that we can avoid those torpedoes. We're going to try and finish off this Kleber. They are spotted now. Our smoke screen has already run out, so we are detected. Is the CV still harassing us here? Looks like we have some torpedoes coming, actually. But the torpedoes were not aimed very well, so they have a very wide spread, so we're going to be able to avoid that pretty easily. And back up just a tad too far here. This island in front of us is actually blocking us at the moment. The Kleber, in their haste to get away, has run aground, so they're going to be an easy kill for the Udaloy and I. And the Udaloy will be the one that finishes them off. So now we're going to go ahead and try and just cap this out. We got to cap A. Planes are coming back in. Now I could have popped smoke here, but because the planes were already kind of rushing past us, I decided not to do it. They weren't going to be able to hit us anyway. Just 10 seconds left to cap this out. The Udaloy left the cap, unfortunately. Would have been nice to have their help here capping this out, but you also notice the midway. The Tier 10 American CV is also very far forward. Now I do see some dive bombers coming, and so I want to be very careful here. So this is why I'm going to pop my smoke screen. I do get briefly spotted, so because I was slowing down, I'm going to go ahead and accelerate really quick, so that I'm no longer in my last known position. See, the bombs fell right where we were because we were slowing down there. So we went ahead and accelerated just briefly. Make sure we're in a different location. That midway is pushing way out there. We're going to go ahead and continue on now. We've laid down the smoke screen, but again, it doesn't last very long. We've got a cap. And the CV is honestly going to have to deal with that Udaloy. Notice that Udaloy on the one line there. They are pushing towards that CV, and they're pushing pretty hard. And this is one of the rare instances where, as a DD player, you want to go for the CV early. I would usually recommend against this, but the CV came so far forward, an opportunity to knock them out of the game this early could be critical. And we'll actually see later in the game that it will be critical, because if there were aircraft flying around, I don't think we would have won this game. And also, one of the themes of this game is going to be don't give up. I want to reiterate that, especially for destroyer players. You're stealthy. Even if you have very few hit points, you can still impact the battle. And so don't give up if you're low hit points. If you're in a bad spot, try and escape. Try and live. A DD that is alive is very dangerous. A DD that is dead is not. So we know the Harugumo is up ahead here. Now I also have this Brindisi here, if you notice, towards the A-cap. Now they have semi-armor piercing, and that type of ammo is going to be really effective against destroyers, so I'm going to kind of push towards this Harugumo. And the Harugumo is a really, really good gunboat. Amazing DPM. But because I have the cruiser here with me, I feel like I can win this battle. So I'm thinking he's in the smoke there somewhere. Not quite sure. Kind of creeping forward. I'm a bit undecided. And then he pops up here. We are spotted as well. So I'm going to start opening up with the guns. And he's turning into one of our torps, fortunately. So he's going to take a big hit for about 12k there. And then the Brindisi comes in and gives... Oh, it's got to be another 10k he just suffered right there. So a really big hit. And of course... somehow everybody hit all their shots of me sitting in smoke, which is a little bit unfortunate. Fortunately, we are still alive. We got 11,000 hit points left, so we're okay. And so this Jean Bar is actually leaving, the cap area. They're running away, so I don't want to chase them. We've got caps to deal with. We're down one cap. We do have a very small point lead, which, ironically, we just lost. And so I want to head towards B, because the capture point is usually your primary objective as a destroyer player. It does not matter really whether you're a torpedo boat, a gunboat. The cap is usually your primary objective, especially in the mid to late game area. So we want to try and stop the enemy's point gain here. We're going to head over towards B, and I'm trying to keep an eye on which direction these battleships are headed that are just north of B. I'd like to try and get a torpedo strike on them if possible. However, they are running away from us, which makes it very, very difficult. And we see the Jean Bar here. They seem to be reversing. So that makes a fairly easy target. Now they are going forward now, it looks like, are starting to accelerate. So I'm going to keep heading towards them. The torpedoes on the Daring are 10 kilometers. So I need to be inside of that if I'm going to have a chance to land any torpedoes. And now I've noticed that the Jean Bar starts to slow down again. So they are very broadside to us. They're not moving too much. And I'm going to use the single fire torps, which is characteristic of the British destroyers and cruisers as well. And I'm going to basically line up two different salvos. So if he continues to back up a little bit, we've got a salvo for him there. If he continues to go back a little bit further, we've got another salvo there waiting for him. So unless he starts to accelerate, we should have a good chance of landing some torpedo hits there. And I'm going to go ahead and run aground here just for fun. It seems like a nice beach, but the weather's not great, so we're not going to stick around here. We're going to continue on. Looks like we got some sort of thunderstorm going on. We actually have a cyclone, in fact, which reduces visibility of ships down to 8 kilometers. So we're going to go ahead and make our way towards B, and those torps start hitting, and we land 4 of them. And that is a dev strike. Devastating strike on the Jean Bar there. So really fortunate there. Landed 4 out of 5 torpedoes on that salvo, and that was enough to kill him. So that's one problem solved. And we're going to make our way into B cap. We've got a little bit of a ship advantage, still losing on points. But if we can secure this cap, we can turn that around very quickly. Notice RPF is just off to my left here. So there is a destroyer. I see a little bit of a smoke screen there. So there's definitely a destroyer in that smoke screen, or very close to it. I'm going to pop my hydro. Don't want to catch any stray torpedoes as we push around the corner. And we also want to be ready to engage in a knife fight with another ship. So it looks like we have the Daring here. They've been spotted, so we're going to start contributing here. And the Daring and I obviously have the same detection range of 6 kilometers, so I know that I'm able to spot them easily. And I'm keeping my nose in because the Daring has 2 of its 3 guns facing forward, so I can actually get most of my firepower forward without having to show too much side. It makes me a more difficult target to hit. And now we've got those torpedoes coming, so we're going to have to do a little bit of wiggle in here. And the Daring is a pretty maneuverable ship. It's not good at changing directions in terms of going forward and backward, but it is really good at quickly accelerating from a standstill. And also, you can see a decent turning circle here, and a decent rudder shift as well, so it's pretty maneuverable. I see we have the Yamato out there, so I'm just going to start throwing those in a line, and it looks like we've got some more torpedoes coming, unfortunately. And I'm going to go ahead and launch the rest of these torpedoes at the Yamato. I'm also popping my smoke screen here as well, just to make sure that I finish this cap, and also I want to start opening up on the Yamato here as well. So we've got our smoke screen up, and the Yamato missed our first salvo, unfortunately. And because I have him broadside, I'm actually going to switch to AP here. The AP is pretty good if you have a ship broadside. You can get some good damage into the superstructure, and looks like we're going to land a couple of torps here, potentially. And we do actually get a detonation, which is somewhat odd. Now I'm going to try and push out here away from the Venezia, because that's a dangerous ship. And oh my, there is a battleship. That is not good. I had no idea that they were there. And we are almost a full kilometer inside our detection range. And I'm going to try and slam on the brakes to dodge some of this, but it hurts. It's about 8,100 damage we just took there. The Monty's secondaries are just going off on us right now, and we're just trying to wiggle back and forth to try and stay alive here. And it's on a knife's edge. If we take 1 or 2 more secondary hits, we are in serious trouble. If we take one there, we get a fire, repair it quickly. We were fortunate to have a repair party available, and we dodge a few more, and we're actually going to make it out. So 260 hit points, that's about just over 1% health. Nothing too comforting, but we are still alive. And so this is where I want to mention 2 things again. Remember, the carrier was too far forward, and they died as a result. Now, a DD of this low health would be a prime target for a aircraft carrier. And also, remember I said don't give up. So we're at 260 hit points. And we're trying to locate this Jean Bar. And there they are. We want to go cap A as best we can. But we cannot get spotted for even a moment. So I'm going to throw 1 set of torpedoes out there, and I'm going to watch where he continues to turn. Jean Bar is continuing forward, so I'm going to throw another set of torpedoes out there. And I'm going to turn away just to be extra cautious here. I want to make sure that I'm outside of 6 kilometers. I do not want to get spotted. If the Jean Bar sneezes on me, we are going to die. So I'm taking a look at these torps here. They look pretty good. Seems like the second set is on target. as the Jean Bar passes behind this island, I'm going to use the island to turn back around and head back towards A. So we get 4 more torpedo hits there, get 2 floodings. Those have most certainly been repaired. Now, this is where I was trying to make a decision. You can go to the left of this island, try and get more torpedoes on the Jean Bar, or I could have smoked up and potentially fired at him from smoke. But I think the cap is more important right now. We've lost C cap, and we need to get A so that we start accumulating some more points. Still just under 5 minutes left in this game, so those cap points could be critical. The carrier continues to work on this Jean Bar here, and they're getting pretty low, in part thanks to us, because we landed 4 torpedoes on them. So pretty good overall, and we're going to try and sneak into A. Again, we're making sure that we stay outside of detection range. We do not want to get spotted. We cannot afford that. We will certainly die if we get spotted. I was kind of checking there to see if I could maybe fire over the island. Doesn't look like we can. That island indicator was in the way there. And the Haku was able to finish off the job. So we got 2 floodings with those torpedoes, and it looks like the Haku was fortunate enough to get an additional flooding, which was what ended up doing that Jean Bar in. So we're going to jump into A here. We still are losing on points. Got a nice ship lead, and actually before we even get into A, our allies are able to take care of the very last opponent. So overall here we've got a pretty nice game, finished with 167,000 damage thanks to, in part, a couple of torpedo strikes there. And we also contributed with some capturing and putting pressure on DDs there, so we ended up with a very nice score. Pretty happy with this game overall. And I cannot reiterate this enough. Just don't give up, because we ended up landing another 45-ish thousand damage, I would say. 40,000 damage it looks like there on the Jean Bar. That was when we had a whopping 260-some hit points. So don't give up. It's the message of the day. And let's go take a look at the build here. So quickly I'd like to go over my Daring build here, just so you can take a look at the modules and captain skills that I use on it. I recommend premium consumables as always. You do have a heal here. It is your only option. Also Hydro is your only option as well, and same for smoke screen. So you really don't have any choice other than choosing between premium and regular consumables. However, I do recommend those premium consumables, especially since we're at tier 10 here. It's going to end up helping you out a lot more, and it will more than pay for itself, even though it's 90,000 credits in total. As for the upgrades, I use the main battery mod 3, which is going to reduce your reload. And as a gunboat, that's very critical. We also have Concealment Expert here. Concealment is critical for pretty much every DD in the game. I can't recommend this enough, with the exception of maybe some gunboat builds on the French or Russian destroyers. You don't have the option on the British destroyers to use the engine mod, the propulsion modification. So I've elected for steering gears here to improve the rudder shift. I also use aiming system mod 1 to improve the accuracy of the main battery. I use propulsion mod here. Really any of these options is pretty viable. You can use this to reduce fire and flood chance. You can also use your steering gear mod to try and keep your steering gear more protected. For me, I use last stand on all my DDs, and we'll see that in the captain build here. But I'd much rather have full use of my engine and diminished steering gears than have a damaged engine and healthy steering gears. So I've chosen to go with propulsion mod 1 here. And main armament is pretty much standard for a ship like this. There is magazine modification to reduce your detonation chance, but you can eliminate that entirely with detonation flags, which I do recommend that you do. And there's really no reason to take this because you're not really concerned about AA or secondaries on a DD. So those are my modules here. Quickly, I'll show you the flags real quick. Definitely want to take Detonation Flag, and you definitely want to take November Foxtrot here, which will reduce your reload time on your consumables. You can also use Speed Flag here as well. That is a very helpful DD skill to use, or a flag to use rather. And then for the captain build, still 1 point shy of the 19-point commander. However, I use Priority Target. Last Stand is critical for DDs, so I highly recommend that, as is Survivability Expert, just because the extra hit points are really helpful when you're a low hit point ship like a destroyer. IFHE is critical on the top end, or the top tier British destroyers, because their gun caliber is quite small, and you're not even going to be able to pen DDs regularly without it. So you really do need to take IFHE. It's pretty much mandatory on these ships. I also use Concealment, of course. That would be the first 4-point skill that I would take. I have RPF as well, so that I can get an idea of where enemy destroyers are in the game. The alternative build would be to take BFT and AR and maybe sacrifice something like radiolocation. That would be like a full true gunboat build where you're all about the guns. I like the flexibility of this build, and I think in that previous battle it worked out pretty well for us. So let me know in the comments below what you think. And also, if you're interested in seeing some live gameplay, I do stream on Twitch almost every day, and the link to our Twitch channel is down below in the description. Thanks everybody, and have a great day.